Our Shaquille Brewster has spent the better part of the last year or so covering Bernie Sanders, following the Sanders campaign as they crisscross the country, trying to convince Democrats to vote for him. Shaq, what do we make of the timing? Why now?
Well, Craig, we know that Senator Sanders for the past couple weeks has been evaluating and assessing the path forward of his campaign. I'll tell you that we know now that we'll hear from Senator Sanders at about 11:45 Eastern time on a campaign live stream. That is how he's been campaigning and communicating with his supporters for the past couple of weeks as this crisis has emerged. We know that he's really been focused on the coronavirus crisis, putting his efforts there, but he's had to deal with and contend with the reality of the status of his campaign. Since Super Tuesday, when he dramatically underperformed, didn't do as well as he expected to, there was that open question of how he would be able to secure a path to the nomination. Then the week after, he had that loss in Michigan, a state that he won in 2016, and he got swept in those contests. Those were critical moments for this campaign. They truly invested in those states, and they weren't able to meet that bar that they set for themselves. So we will hear from Senator Sanders at 11:45. I was listening to a call that he had with staff when he announced this, when he made this announcement to them. He said this is a painful and difficult decision for them. He said he was proud of the work that they did, and they should be proud of the work of pushing the issues that he's been talking about. He referenced things like Medicare for All and the increased popularity of that program. He pushed ideas like the minimum wage, raising it to $15 an hour. It's very clear he wants to continue to tout those programs, tout his policies, but as far as the campaign and his path towards a nomination and being that Democratic nominee, something that he thought and his campaign thought he was on a path to just about a month ago, he has now acknowledged that he no longer has that path, and he will be announcing that he's suspending his campaign to his supporters in just about 15 minutes. Craig?
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.